Operation Sindoor was all about the effective employment of air power and missile power, and Indian air power was able to deliver. India today has exclusively accessed the latest satellite images. They've been analyzed at length, and they show you the extent of damage caused to Pakistan's air bases that forced Pakistan to seek a ceasefire, literally plead for a ceasefire on the afternoon of the 10th of May. Joining me now on this India Today special broadcast for his impressions on these satellite images is Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhadoria, former Chief of Air Staff. Sir, a privilege to have you on this special broadcast with us. Thank you for joining us. I want to take our viewers through some of these images that India Today has accessed from Maxar and also from Ditresfa. Let's take a look at the first image that's coming in from the Bholari Airbase in Sindh. And this was a deep strike in Pakistan's Sindh province. The latest airbase, their newest airbase, and targeted, and how. We've got two images on your screens, one before and after the strike, and that is a hangar. There's a precision strike. Air Chief Marshal Bhadoria, your impressions of the structural damage, the damage to the roof, and what was inside. What can you tell us?
From what I can make out from the satellite pictures which came earlier, this is much more clearer and closer and much more explicit, and very clearly the kind of damage that you see from the roof, and the weapon has gone straight inside. Nothing inside this hangar would have survived.
Nothing
so
inside.
there is going to be
size.
AWC inside this hangar, and there would be whatever else kept inside in terms of systems, in terms of if any other operation that was there, nothing would survive in this hangar because the weapon real blast is inside the hangar.
Yeah,
so
it penetrates
that is
and then explodes.
Yes, very much so.
So
and you can make out where the weapon is gone, and some of the impact which will be hangar door you can see strewn in front.
Yes.
So this is very clearly a big hit, a very strategic target, and a very major loss for Pakistan Air Force.
So we are told that a Saab 2000, their advanced early warning command and control aircraft, that was lost. We are also told by sources that they've lost some Western fighter jets. Could be 3 to 4. Would it be F-16s? Could it be Mirage 3 or 5?
I think if you're talking of air-to-ground strikes, what was stuck at Jakovabad, the pictures that we saw earlier, would be F-16s.
Would be
because
F-16s.
the hardened shelters that were stuck there. Here, of course, is Saab 2000.
Now, how major a loss would be for a country like Pakistan to lose an advanced early warning command and control system?
It's a major loss in terms of not only combat equipment, it's a loss in terms of, immediately if they have to deploy, they lose a major asset. But more importantly, it is in the context that this was done, it is a clear signal of how accurately their assets can be targeted. And this is just a demonstration. There were just, 9 on the 10th morning, 9 of those targets taken.
Correct.
They could have taken 20. On those 9 targets, they could have taken 20 more targets. So much more was possible. But it was in a controlled and graded manner, looking at the situation. And it was a very clear message. One is targeting and getting the asset. In this context, I think it is very clearly driven home. And these are assets.
Yes.
You should remember what was done to their air defense center itself, their control centers that were knocked off, their radars that were knocked off. So a big hole was created in their entire air defense network in terms of capability. And they were blinded in that zone. And none of our weapons practically, all the weapons have hit. So maybe leave aside 1 or 2, every weapon has hit its target. They have not been able to intercept anything. Yep. And that is because the way their air defense network was taken out.
So Pakistan and, SIAD, suppression of enemy air defenses, as you taught us quite some time back, SIAD was the first critical part of our operations, successful in Pakistan's Punjab province, successful in the Sindh province. Yeah. What does this say about the Chinese air defense systems that Pakistan has?
No, it says more about our attack capability and ability to take out. The Chinese systems in terms of HQ series that they had provided, they have a certain level of capability going from 200, 300 kilometers, depending on which radar and which missile combination you're talking about. Those were networked, those were provided in large numbers. But we created the holes where they were required. So it was a demonstration of our capability to disrupt any such network and do what we want. I think that is important.
Bholari, there were also losses of lives, and we're told major losses of lives of Pakistan Air Force personnel.
Yes, I've seen those some of those videos and reports, and I think it would have happened probably because of this strike.
In this hangar.
Yeah.
Would they have been trying to retrieve the aircraft or park the aircraft inside
Whatever.
in hardened
Some
pens?
operations, it could be systems, it could be this. But if it has happened, I think this is one of the places where there could be people and it would have stuck.
I now want to shift focus to the other side, and that's equally crucial. This is Pakistan Air Force Base, Murid. Like Noor Khan, a very significant, whether you talk about Murid or you talk about Jacobabad, you talk about Rahim Yar Khan, you talk about Noor Khan, Mushaf, which is Sargodha. Take a look at the Murid site, sir, both before and after. This satellite imagery is courtesy Maxar, and if you look at the strike, after the strike, not only was the roof damaged, a section of the roof caved in. What is even more severe, the UAV hangars 1 and 2, after the strike, they've been destroyed, and there's a huge hole that's come up there. What would that indicate, sir?
Yeah, so this again, it's a very carefully chosen target to destroy some of their assets and the control center. And you see the kind of results which are now more explicitly visible in these satellite pictures. So it's a target that you see the kind of damage that is shown. And these pictures have been taken, I think, after a gap of a couple of days.
A week, almost a week later.
Yeah, and some of the debris is probably removed. But you see the nature of that damage. Nothing there and its vicinity would survive. And for airborne assets or any other assets, any damage on any of the surfaces, it disables it. It disables it. More importantly, the command centers and all those get written off.
So that is the underground storage facility. You can look at the hardened shelter. You can look at that narrow entrance in that picture. When you take out, what would that indicate, sir?
No, clearly whatever storage facility they have hit there, that hit is almost in the center of it, and it has gone cleanly. From top, you would always see a small hole.
Yes.
The weapon would go inside and
then blast
explode.
off.
And on a facility that is enclosed like this, the blast effect and the damage is even more when it is in an underground thing. So again, inside this, whatever existed there would be disabled.
So a 3-meter crater, it's really deep. In some areas, we are told that the Pakistanis subsequently, they not only brought in JCBs, but they removed everything from that area. Yeah. Would that be an indication that that entire building or that entire structure is now a write-off?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so.
So their assets are gone, their structures are gone, their command and control centers are gone?
Yeah, command and, see, the focus was totally to take out, after the first 2 nights, some radars that were taken out, important radar networks, and then the air defense centers, command and control centers, 3 of them were knocked off, and then the assets on the airfield. On the airfield, lots of strategic assets or important assets, hardened shelters, the weapon storages, and targets on the runway itself. If you see the entire target length of all the 9 bases that were struck. Important thing is that everything was struck very precisely, and the damage is there to see. No, they can't hide it. They are not accepting it, but the whole world has seen it.
Oh, absolutely. Because all those who were saying, kya kiya, itni jaldi ceasefire, kyun kar diya, they need to see the extent of damage on ground. And this is unprecedented. It's never happened in the past. And now I want to focus
and वो ceasefire हमने नहीं किया. वो the kind of damage done on 10th morning, ये ceasefire का request पाकिस्तानी DGMO से आया है.
सही बात है.
So there is no question that हमने ceasefire मांगा या हमने accept कर लिया. हमने accept जरूर किया because this thing. And it was always the case that they were told, do not escalate. If you do any damage to our military targets, we will hit you back. Yes. So it was a graded hitting back. But on the 10th morning, the levels and precision that was done, they just gave up. It must be understood. There is a lot of, I think,
in this fog of war, information or misinformation warfare from the Pakistani side. You're saying Pakistan gave up.
Of course, after the result of this 10th strike, that is when they have decided to stop.
I'll tell you one more reason, and I want you to look at the Noor Khan airbase. And Noor Khan is Aankhon ka Noor, if I may, for Pakistan. It is right between Islamabad and Rawalpindi. It's the seat of power in Pakistan. Islamabad is like the secondary seat of power. The main seat of power is Rawalpindi, which is general headquarters. And this Noor Khan airbase is right next to general headquarters in Rawalpindi. And that was struck. And how? I want you to look at those images with Air Chief Marshal Bhadoria. Proof of Noor Khan airbase hit and the manner in which it was hit. The airbase, the runway, that area close to it, some military support vehicles, they've been destroyed. But most significantly, isn't this their main command and control center?
Absolutely. The command center has been destroyed, and believe me, this explosion would have been heard in their offices, in their headquarter buildings. They are so close. It is close enough to one of their nuclear command and control center. This is what our attack on this has, and this kind of precision and our ability to attack has shook them more than any other place. This, and I think Sargodha and Bholari, these two, three are very, very important pieces in this. And the way we were able to disable their air defense network and do what we wanted. So this would have really been a catalyst in their decision to stop and ring
because
up
then
US.
they realized if they'd gone on for another day, they wouldn't have had an air force left, isn't it?
No, we would have stuck stronger than this, and the Navy was waiting off Karachi.
Yes.
Okay, so it is only because of a restrained nature of our actions that Navy had still not hit Karachi. Otherwise, if it had gone on to one more night, I am sure that even that step would have been taken. And of course, our own attacks would have multiplied to some extent. Even if you take a 3x multiplication, I don't think that would have been serious escalation, and that would have been serious damage on their part.
So, should we have done that? Should we have done that? Because there are many who argue when we were right there. And people like us, people like you and I, and we've all suffered Pakistani state-sponsored terror for decades. The Prime Minister said the first terror attack took place in 1947.
No, we should not mix up and we should not get confused. We went in for this portion after hitting the terrorist targets, saying that you stop. They did not stop. They attacked us on 7th night. In response, some radars on the what was happening on LSU is exchange of fire. But what was hit inside was in a very measured way. On next night, they increased their drone attacks, increased their loitering munition attack. Another measured response was given, 3 more radars, etc. It is when they hit our bases and when we hit Adampur in a big way and they tried to take out a S-400, then this result happened. So we were measured and we were always giving them chance to stop. Okay, so once we have said that we are taking terrorist targets and they should not escalate, and they are escalating, we are measured in our response. So it is not logical for us to have continued beyond a point because it was not meant to be taken to a full-fledged conventional conflict unless they want it. If they wanted to take it, we were ready. But it doesn't mean that we continue. So when they gave up, it was, I think, a very correct decision.
Asim Munir has made himself a field marshal. There are people in Pakistan mocking him, saying that, in Pakistan, the concept of Form 47, for somebody to be elected a leader. So they're saying, Shahbaz Sharif is Form 47 ka Prime Minister, Asim Munir is Form 47 ka Field Marshal, like a failed marshal. So he's made himself a Field Marshal, but does he have either Izzat or Iqbal today in Pakistan?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And very soon, even Pakistani public will know it. There was nothing achieved by their side. All the terrorist targets were hit. They were exposed to the world. Their nexus with terrorism was exposed. The kind of damage done to their targets, their ability to defend their bases, their ability to defend their country was exposed. And the Pakistani public will know it. And you can't hide these things. You can't hide these satellite images.
No, and when they were being slammed, Pakistani public knew they were being slammed.
Of course, they are the ones who are giving the videos.
They were the ones who put out all these
Bhavalpur
videos.
and Murid, all the pictures initially came from them.
Yes.
The detailed picture.
So what I want to understand from you now, sir, is initially we hit 9 terror camps and successfully. Then when they tried, we hit their air defenses and punched a hole in their air defense system. And then we hit 13 bases and radar stations finally. Next time, when there's a terror attack, they would know what our strategy is. They will have better air defenses. They will have better systems. What if we can't hit their air defenses again?
No. Even this time, whatever they had deployed and they were fully ready. Once Prime Minister had given very clearly a direction that they will be punished in an unimaginable manner and their accomplices and supporters would be taken care of. They knew something is going to happen, but they never imagined it will be of this level. So they were fully ready. Okay. Let us not. Next time, will they be ready more? Of course they will be. And therefore, we need to also step up our game in terms of whatever is required to be done to be ready next time. And don't forget what Prime Minister has said now, that any terrorist attack will be an act of war. It changes the entire, philosophy, how we can tackle. Okay. It has put the terrorists, the Pakistani army and the ISI in the same frame. Yep. And therefore, what we can do in the opening shot next time can be very much different from what we were constrained to do this time. This time we just took terrorist target. That next time, if we have a proof, we are at liberty. Whether we do it or not is another matter. I'm sure there'll be a very good look at it. But they have been put in the same frame. That is very important to understand.
That's a very interesting point to make, sir. For joining me here on India Today. Thanks.